everyone. Hopefully you all enjoyed the tour. We have some amazing tour guides here, so hopefully you guys all learned a lot and asked a lot of great questions. Would anyone like to share what their favorite part of the tour was? Whether it's a building or something that popped out to you? I'll share mine when yeah, go ahead.
I really liked the dorm setup.
Nice, I like that answer. Yeah, we have really nice dorms, a lot of good space, and whenever boarders come and consultants and things like that, they always comment on that and say that we have a really nice space for our boarding students, which is really nice. So when I did my tour last year in April, my favorite part was seeing all the artwork that was displayed throughout campus, which just goes to show kind of the talented artists and students that we have here. So this is really a great opportunity for you all to learn all about Stuart Hall and what makes Stuart Hall special academically, co-curricular-wise, student life-wise. This is all for you all. So please feel free to ask as many questions as you'd like. The faculty and students here are ready to answer any and all questions that you guys have for us. So with that being said, I'm going to turn it over to our head of school who has a small speech to share, Mr. Jason Cody.
Speech feels a little bit more ambitious than it actually is. As I said before, my name is Jason Cody. I'm the head of school. I've been here since 2019. I came in as the dean of students right before the pandemic, which is really a good way to find out about the strength and resilience of a community, is to kind of be here and observe that in your first year. My second year as a head of school, I think it's probably worth knowing that I'm in my 25th year in education, and I started out as a math teacher after deciding engineering wasn't my thing. I also, so I've worked entirely in boarding schools. I also attended a boarding school, and when you count all that, plus the time that I was an RA in college and lived in the dorms, I've lived over half of my life in dormitories, which is kind of awesome, and I kind of miss it actually. The thing that I like about boarding school that I think is important is, and I think we think boarding first. We have a middle school that's all day school, and we have more day students than boarders right now, but we think boarding first when we think about how we design the school and the program. And what I mean by that is that boarding is just a different mindset than a day school in terms of what happens during the day and what constitutes a learning experience, and we think about the weekends. And what that means is that we have even our middle school students who are able to join a weekend activities trip to the Green Valley, I cannot remember the name of it, but the massive bookstore that's up the road. I'm getting some nods, somebody at least knows what I'm talking about, because I cannot remember the name. But we do all for Green Valley, thank you. So we pull we do all sorts of things that are really for everybody. And so you can be a day student here, you can be a middle school student here and benefit in the same way as if you were living on campus yourself. The only difference could be that you go home at the end of the day, but everything else, you have access to everything that all boarding students do. And that's important because it just defines a different educational experience. I thought maybe the best way to take just a couple of minutes and talk about a Stuart Hall experience is to talk about my kids, because that's kind of what parents do anyway, right? So all three of my children have gone here. One graduated back in May 23. The second is a junior, and the third is a seventh grader. They're all very different, and they've all gotten what they needed here. So my oldest, who just graduated, he loves learning unless it's happening in a classroom or includes assigned work outside of the classroom. He will absorb information from YouTube, he will read, he once came home from his job at midnight, went out back and fixed our air conditioner. He has no air conditioner fixing experience, he just happens to have absorbed this kind of information at some point. Despite the fact that that's who he is and that's how he likes to learn, he was able to have a great experience here. Teachers who really supported him, understood how he learned, and met him where he was and said, you have to do this stuff too, but also let's work with how you can play with your own interests and your own experiences and your own styles. He graduated, he's doing pretty well for himself now. The daughter, who's a junior, mostly what she likes to do is everything all the time. She gave a tour earlier this morning. She's not up here, but she gave a tour earlier this morning. She's involved in afternoon activities 4 afternoons a week. The only reason it's not 5 is because she babysits on Friday nights. She, on top of everything else, volunteers. She helped set up a dance a couple weeks ago. She's always looking for ways to get involved, always looking for ways to try new things. She's doing a lot of stuff that she's never ever done before just because she wants to try it. She wants to be busy. She wants to try new things. And for somebody who's interested like that, it's been a great experience for her because of all that's been provided to her in terms of opportunity. My youngest, who's a 7th grader, started here in 3rd grade. And what's been really nice to see as she's worked her way through, especially coming into 6th grade and then leaving 6th grade, so that year that she had Mrs. Bartley, what she was able to learn and what she was able to get was the confidence that she needed. She's strong academically. She likes doing her homework. She likes learning and likes things. What she doesn't like doing is making mistakes. So she's very, very hesitant unless she knows she's going to do something right or get the right answer. And it really was a long time with Mrs. Bartley working with her to get her to the point of realizing like the mistakes are okay. Mistakes are good because they help you learn faster and nobody's going to judge you. And when she got a little more comfortable, she got a little bit more relaxed in class, she's actually blossomed even more as a student as a result. But that again was because Mrs. Bartley knew who she was as an individual learner and what she needed to be successful. So that's what Stuart Hall's been like for my kids. I think if I could tell, if we got them to tell their stories right here, these 4 would have 4 very different stories about their time, their experiences, and their needs, but they'd all say the same thing, that they've managed to get what was good for them or what was best for them. So I hope as you get to hear from some people here and get to ask some questions, that's what you're going to find out as well. Appreciate y'all coming. Once again, great to meet you. I'm here to answer questions as well, but I'm going to hand it off to the people who know things best. You going to Brad? Yes. Very good. And so I will hand off to our Dean of Faculty, Brad Arnold.
Thank you. My name is Brad Arnold, and in addition to serving as Dean of Faculty, I am a 20-year history and philosophy teacher at Stuart Hall. Stuart Hall's academic program revolves around mastery learning. I'm going to highlight 3 important aspects of mastery at Stuart Hall and demonstrate how they produce better student outcomes than traditional educational environments. Cody hit. First, rather than focusing primarily on the memorization of content like major events of ancient history, mastery learning emphasizes skills. For example, history and English classes teach students how to construct arguments using claims and evidence. Therefore, instead of simply listing the major battles fought by Alexander the Great during his invasion of Persia, students will be able to make arguments about how the Greek forces defeated much larger Persian armies. This focus on skills applies to the maths and sciences as well. Rather than memorizing formulas, students learn how to solve complex, real-world problems using a variety of mathematical tools. And don't worry, our focus on skills does not treat content as a second-class citizen. Mastery allows students to explore new content with the tools learned in class. Also, while a focus on content will not necessarily lead to skills, acquisition of skills will lead to a lifetime of content. We also have fun, like putting our custom Greek shields to the test while reenacting the clash of phalanxes. Second, mastery allows Stuart Hall to meet each student where they are and provide effective differentiation as needed. Instructional differentiation might seem like a no-brainer, but many schools require a specific diagnosis or formal accommodations before a student receives additional time on tests, preferred seating, or help breaking large assignments into small ones. Stuart Hall offers these services to all students. The Learning Support Office provides additional services to students needing more help through the Enhanced Support Program. Finally, Stuart Hall's Mastery Program uses assessments in ways that accurately records students' abilities to demonstrate the important skills taught in class. Teachers communicate expectations for each skill through scales or rubrics. These scales describe achievement across 4 levels and clearly articulate what students must do to demonstrate proficiency. Teachers provide meaningful feedback, and every assessment is an opportunity to improve. At the end of the semester, only the most recent assessments are averaged for a grade. Counting only these assessments means the students are not punished with low grades for their earlier tries and practice while still learning new skills. Stuart Hall's mastery approach to learning aligns with the school's mission to prepare its students for university study and for engaged lives of intellectual curiosity, creativity, and contribution. Stuart Hall students have the freedom to explore multiple disciplines while learning the important skills needed to navigate an increasingly complex world. And now you will hear about the middle school from Assistant Dean of Students, Kelsey Sewell.
Thanks, Brian. So as Mr. Arnold shared, I'm Kelsey Sorge. I'm the Assistant Dean of Students here at Stuart Hall, and what that means is I'm the primary advocate for all things non-academic in the middle school. I'm the main point of contact for parents who have concerns about social behavioral issues, and I help build middle school community. I've been here this is my 13th year as part of the Stuart Hall community, and when I tell people what I do, they are frequently confused. A lot of people don't have fond memories of middle school, and they say, why would you willingly return there every day? But they're not talking about Stuart Hall, and so I feel very fortunate to work in our community, to work with middle schoolers who are special and creative and interesting, and have the role where I can help foster those passions as part of our middle school. So we teach more than content here at Stuart Hall, and part of that is talking about things like academic skills and interpersonal skills. And so ultimately, when I talk about what I do, my job is more than just marking tardies or administering detentions. It's middle school movie nights and chatting with middle schoolers between classes about what they're going to do over the weekend. And oh, hey, have you tried this co-curricular that aligns with this particular interest? Or having students explain to me the 15 different dragons they drew and how they all look very similar, but each one has their own unique personality. We have the time here to extend these opportunities to students to share what they love and to help them grow in that way, and it's wonderful. So I'm going to start by talking to you all a little bit about the middle school academics, because our middle school programming is designed with the developmental needs of students in mind. And so we'll start with our 6th grade self-contained model. And a lot of people ask, why? Why do you have the 6th grade self-contained model? When I was in 6th grade, I left elementary school, I went off to middle school, and that was it. And I was just kind of thrown into it. And it's for that particular reason that we ease into the middle school years. Middle school is a period of intense transition. There are rapid brain changes happening. There are hormonal changes happening. There's the desire to fit in and find your people and find your community. There's the idea of going from the oldest, the top dog in elementary school, to the youngest and maybe a bigger pool of students. And so with the 6th grade self-contained model, we're providing a safe, encouraging environment to sort of ease into the middle school experience. And so that means we have small class sizes where students can really get to know one another and build community. It provides teachers the ability to have that one-on-one instruction and to work with small groups. It helps create a strong sense of community, and also it's an environment where students can make mistakes and can learn and grow from those particular mistakes. So with the 6th grade schedule, students have classes that are shorter, more flexible, and the teacher can adjust to the needs of their particular students. So that might mean if a student is having trouble mastering a particular skill, the teacher can adjust the plans for that day and can extend math time to really focus and dive in. Or maybe Ms. Hartley wants to take the 6th graders to the library, and so she's going to extend the ELA time and allow for students to walk downtown and go to the Stanton Public Library and check out books for independent reading. We have the ability to do that here at Stuart Hall, which is something that is so special and so unique. Having having that middle school self-contained experience in 6th grade does not mean that our students are isolated though. It means that students can still have things like art and technology and gym and language classes with other teachers, so they are integrated into the community in a variety of ways. We also have community time, lunch, recess, and certain advisory opportunities where our 6th graders are interacting with the other middle school students and in some cases other school students as well. So although it is a safe space, although it is an opportunity for students to get to know each other really, really well in a smaller classroom setting, they're not just existing in their own corner of the world. They are a valid and recognized part of the Stuart Hall experience. What they learn there in 6th grade, partly, sets them up for success in 7th and 8th grade because the trust, fundamentals, the community have already been established. In 7th and 8th grade, our students transition to what you would think of as that typical middle school set schedule, where they're moving throughout the building to different classes and different teachers. And they have longer block schedules that mimic what you would see in upper school. So this allows us to provide students with an emphasis on regularity and familiarity. You may have different teachers, you may have different classroom expectations, but ultimately you can count on the fact that you're always going to have, your math class during A block first thing on red days. And then of course, as we do with our younger students in 6th grade, we're always trying to push community. So 7th and 8th graders are experiencing lunch, recess, community time, SGA assemblies, chapels, and advisories. So why then the switch from the self-contained classroom model to the 7th and 8th graders moving throughout the school? Well, honestly, it meets our students where they are when it comes to their burgeoning independence. So switching classes, having mixed levels of learning within the same classroom, interacting with older students, and in some cases upper school students in the middle school classroom is developmentally appropriate for where they are. And having those longer structured classroom settings does not mean that it's just a student listening to a lecture for 80 minutes. Not at all. So pedagogically, our teachers are incorporating things like brain breaks and movement and different types of learning into the 7th and 8th grade classrooms. So it may not have the same flexibility as a 6th grade classroom where the teacher can adjust on the fly, but it does mean things like diving deeper into more complex topics, times for labs, project-based learning, and field trips. So middle school is a place where, honestly, learning is really quite fun, and that's a big focus of what we do. And if I can teach how to use a comma in there somewhere too, then that's great. But ultimately, how can we make our students feel safe and loved while they're acquiring those new skills? So in 7th and 8th grade, that growing independence sets them up for success in 9th grade, and the skills they're learning are building on what Ms. Bartley worked on them with in 6th grade. Beyond content, we are emphasizing in the classroom things like study skills, clear communication, common kindness, and taking responsibility for their own learning. So our entire middle school works with Google Classroom, and students have access to see what it is, what's happening in the upcoming week in terms of classroom assignments, what they can expect for homework, different themes and topics and ideas, and opportunities to connect as well. So that's very exciting. Social emotional learning and outside of the classroom is a big part of our middle school experience as well. It's not just what's happening in math class, it's what's happening in advisory and passing period at recess. So I won't speak too much about advisory because Ms. Kleinfelder is going to be speaking to you soon. But we do have an advisory program here at Stuart Hall, and the advisory serves as like your home base, and your advisor oversees your academic learning, your study skills, goal setting, practicing different social emotional skills. And in middle school, we have very specific programming that's designed to meet the middle school mind. So things like our One Love program helps teach the difference between healthy and unhealthy relationships. We work with the Social Institute, which talks to students and creates activities centered around how to use social media appropriately, how to be a better digital citizen. And then we also do lessons that are focused on creating a culture of kindness, which is incredibly important and relevant to middle schoolers today. And then we also have some fun middle school specific activities like, hey, today we're going to design a t-shirt that represents middle school at Stuart Hall, or today we're going to do a middle school spelling bee. So a lot of different experiences for our middle school kids. And then lastly, there are opportunities for leadership in the middle school. So we have a student government association, and middle schoolers can run as classroom representatives. We have the student advancement group who work with the development office to help fundraise for the school. We have student admissions ambassadors who might help on things like an open house. And then our middle school students are encouraged to be leaders in the classroom as well. So they're learning skills and scales that are relevant to helping them stand in front of a group and give a presentation or enact their passions by creating a middle school recycling program. All right, I'm now going to let Ms. Kleinfelder, the Dean of Students, come up and tell you more about our different programs for all students across the board.
Thank you, Mrs. George. Hi, I'm Macy Kleinfelder. I'm the Dean of Students in Campus Life. And here at Stuart Hall, that encompasses everything that is outside the academic realm. And that is things like advisory, community time, attendance, dress code, some of the not fun things, co-curriculars and athletics, which Mr. Murray will talk to you about, res life, and more. Today, I am going to highlight just a few things: what it's like to be a boarder, what it's like to be a day student, and a little bit about our advising program. At its core, as Mr. Cody said, the Res Life program is about a community of learners living in community. Whether it's walking downtown to Remedy Burger or catching a game of pool in the student center, these are the moments where relationships are built outside of the classroom. Memories are made, and sometimes we learn as much about ourselves as we do the people that we're with during those experiences. And that is the foundation of our Res Life program. Our boarders also learn about structure. They have nightly lights out, they have room cleanliness checks, there's attendance taken at meals, we even teach them lessons on laundry, and we have regular meetings each week to discuss how it's all going, so that they can provide us feedback, but we can also give them feedback. Our boarders are lucky enough to enjoy the freedom of living in a very safe place, where coffee shops and farmers markets and shopping, theaters, etc., are all just blocks away from campus. And so during their free time, our students are able to go downtown together. Each weekend, we try to fill a schedule of activities from badminton to bowling, NBA to NASCAR, thrift shopping, and karaoke. We look to provide experiences on campus, downtown in Stanton, but we also venture to Charlottesville and even to DC sometimes. Both our students and our adult chaperones have a say in what we do on the weekends, and we try to be flexible with the varying needs of our students. So if the weather dictates a snowball fight would be a fun Saturday activity, then that's what we're gonna do. We have a thriving student activities team, and they meet weekly to plan events, but they are also the ones leading the events as well. One of the things, though, that I think I like most about Stuart Hall, as Mr. Cody said, we think first as a boarding school, but when you walk around on any given school day, it's hard to tell who's a boarder and who's a day student. Our day students feel totally encompassed and integrated into what's going on at all times of the day. They're often here on campus in the library long after class ends, and they readily partake in the weekend activities because they're open to everyone. So a great example of this is the upcoming Lunar New Year event that's coming this weekend, and that was spearheaded by day students, and then boarders jumped in and they turned it into a weekend activity. Another example is a recent trip to the trampoline park in Charlottesville, or a trip to a JMU basketball game, which was just about 50-50 in terms of day students and boarders. I would be remiss if I didn't add that our day student families also give back to our community in tremendous ways. They are the ones supporting our students at games, they come to events, they attend performances, and they even open their homes to our boarders over the breaks. This mutual support and having parents on campus really does create a very inclusive mindset. So any division between our boarding and our day student community is totally wiped out because it really does feel like an extension of family, and that is such a distinguishing feature of this school. Finally, I want to talk a little bit more about the advising program that Mrs. Storch mentioned. Every student at Stuart Hall is assigned an advisor. This faculty member serves as a primary point of contact for the student, for the parent, and for the faculty here at school. Each advisor has that big picture perspective on each student's life, and they also encourage advisees to try new things, to go beyond their comfort zone, and they're the person who they can go to help problem solve, whether it's socially, whether it's how to talk to a teacher, or whether it's, gosh, I'm totally overwhelmed because I was sick last week, how do I sit down and make all this up? That advisor is that point person, but is also the conduit to all of those areas in a student's life. Advisors are there to troubleshoot challenges, but they're also there to help students experience some of the fun things and have those reminders. So we meet each week, twice a week, in advisory groups, and those groups, are planned sessions, as Mrs. Sorge said, and they're typically an activity that touches upon student grad goals, academic check-ins, and other themes that we have that recur throughout the year. Advisory groups also play a big part in some of the most fun things that we do here at Stuart Hall and some of the traditions that we have. So things like door decorating, which is now tree decorating. Each advisory group decorates a tree at the holidays, or pumpkin carving, which is another fun fall activity where each advisory group carves their own pumpkin. So our 7th and 8th graders are banded together, and our 9th and 10th graders are banded together, and our 11th and 12th graders are banded together. Our advisory groups are about 10 to 12 students in total, and these bands of grades and these small groups allow us to create programs that are developmentally appropriate, but that also recur as time goes on. So the advisor is able to not only provide opportunities for that group of students over the course of a few years, but also to each individual student. And that's a really distinctive feature of our advisory program. So, as you can see, Stuart Hall student life encompasses a lot of what students are doing outside of the classroom, but also inside of the classroom. And one of the most important things to us in the campus life and student life office is that our students are known, they feel safe, they feel seen, and they feel loved. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Murray, who will talk about one of the most fun parts of the student life office, co-curriculars.
I really am spoiled. Like, this is what I do. This is my job right here. The co-curricular program is an opportunity for students to continue their learning, continue their work in mastery, but beyond the academic, beyond the traditional. We're working on critical thinking, we're working on contribution, and all our Stuart grad goals. But instead of doing it in the math room or the history classroom, you're doing it while fighting with swords. I mean, it's a really, really cool experience. I'm the director of it. I get to help shape this thing. I get to help our students grow their experience here in a way that suits them, and just figure out ways to have fun and learn in ways that you really can't do in a lot of other places. We're small, but at the same time we're big enough that we can offer things that a lot of places can't offer. Currently we have 28 co-curricular offerings, ranging from theater and scene study to French baking and ultimate frisbee and esports. I mean, if you name a category, we've probably got something that will fit you. We have athletics in the world of soccer and tennis and basketball at varying levels, and as our programs and the interest and the levels of our students progress, our programs progress with them. I'm the ultimate frisbee coach, which last year was, hey, do y'all want to play frisbee? And they said, what's frisbee? And that turned into, why don't we compete against other schools? And so this year we have plans to, I've worked with the network in Virginia, the director of Ultimate, which who knew that existed, the director of Virginia Ultimate, and now our team plans to travel and compete in a state championship that'll happen later this year. So as our students grow and their interests grow, we are able to respond to that and grow along with them. Our girls basketball team went from developmental to competing and hopes to progress even further. Our guys basketball team went from just a few years ago restarting to one of the most competitive teams in the area. So we're able to do these things because of our nimbleness as a small faculty, but also our vision for each of our students, the interests of our students, and our ability to offer these things because of the diverse faculty that we have here. So here we've got, I believe this is from our Valley Stewards program, but this might also be a weekend activity. But we have a myriad of offerings ranging from community service to athletics and to debate and other non-athletic competitions as well. Did I go too far? Nope. Here we go. There we go. So here you can see woodworking, traditional woodworking. We've got a student there working away to develop. I would have to ask Mr. Swords what. He's our woodworking man. And then we've got comitatus happening on the left. Interestingly, we also offer fencing. I don't know how many schools offer 2 different types of sword fighting options, but we have it, and it's because the interest is there. In fact, comitatus this year is now offering a level 2 because we have the consistent interest. We have kids that are ready to take on advanced techniques, so we have that as well. And then here on the left, we've got one of our service options. That's Dragons and Dragonflies there. We actually work closely with Anna's house, that is just a few minutes away. And we're able to work with those students a couple afternoons a week, help them with their homework, help them with learning how to shoot hoops, and just having a good time doing whatever they have going on there. And we have a special event at the end of every trimester. And then on the right, we've got our volleyball team playing away there. Someone's about to do some damage to another team with that first night. Our seasons run via trimesters, so we have a fall season, a winter season, a spring season. Students are able to sign up and diversify throughout the year. So if they're interested in basketball in the winter, that's great. They don't have to commit to basketball in the fall. They're able to do other things in the fall and then take on basketball in the winter. We do that for all 3 seasons. I was trying to get my kids to help me with a poster for an event I'm doing this Friday. And my esports kids, we play, we're competitive in Super Smash Brothers. And I said, guys, I need a quote. And of course, 6, 8 students playing video games, they're like, smash hard, smash long, and we're here to win. I'm like, thanks guys, that's not what I'm looking for. And after a few minutes of those, and they were much better than I can remember, but after a few minutes of those, one of them came aside, and he said, you know what, Mr. Murray, Coach Murray, I wouldn't know any of these people if this didn't exist. This was a 9th grader who actually started playing with us in 8th grade. He's completely different from the rest of that group. They're mostly older students. We have opened it up to 6 through 12, but he said, I wouldn't know any of these guys if this didn't exist. And he said, y'all are some of the most welcoming people. You'll have fun, you'll play hard, you'll try to get better at something, but it's a community that wouldn't otherwise exist, and that's something that co-curriculars really offers here. It's the opportunity for you to work with students that you might never see. The students that end up in Dragons and Dragonflies that like working with younger kids, like those are 6th graders working alongside 12th graders to help 4th graders. Or even younger students. So co-curriculars to me is the opportunity to expand our community and expand the opportunity for kids to meet other kids and make this place a little bit tighter, a little bit closer than it otherwise would be. They get to have a lot of fun. They learn, we use Mastery in our program as well. So it all integrates very nicely into our academic program. And I feel blessed and lucky and just, I'm incredibly happy to be here. My family, I'm not gonna get into the other side, I do campus life too. My family lives here. I've got 2 cats, I've got a dog, I've got 2 kids. And you will see them running around. The fact that Leon, my son, is not running up and down this hall right here is because he's sick and he can't play. But otherwise, he would absolutely be interrupting us right now to come say hello. So this is a family place, and it's really, really cool to be a part of it. And I invite you to ask as many questions as you've got, figure out what you need, and really consider all that we have to offer. With that, I'm going to give it up to our best speakers here. Thanks, guys.
Hello? Okay. I am Liam. I am one of the student admission ambassadors here. I am a current 9th grader, and I have gone to STU for 4 years. I'm a day student from Waynesboro. That's about it. Do I need to say anything else? No? Okay.
Okay, my name is Avery. This is my 5th year here. I'm a junior, and I was a day student for a lot of that time, but as of today, I'm now a boarding student.
I'm Anna. I've been here for 1 year, or this is my first year here because I'm an exchange student. I'm a junior, and I'm a boarding student.
My name is Kareem. I'm a senior. I'm the president of the student government, and I've been at Stuart Hall since halfway through my 7th grade year, and yeah, I'm a day student from Lexington.
Thank you. And Kareem, I'm going to put you on the spot for a second. What did you do a couple weekends ago down at Duke University? If you don't mind sharing your experience there.
So as Mr. Murray mentioned, we have a lot of co-curricular opportunities, and one of those opportunities is moot court, which is, it's kind of like debate, except it's a lot more, realistic in that we study, real Supreme Court case law and develop arguments regarding a case that the National Association of Moot Court brings to us each year. And so a few weeks ago, the team, we have a load of, different partner groups that are in that moot court team, and we went to Duke University to actually deliver oral arguments to different judges against other students from other schools, and it was a really, really great opportunity. We were in Durham over the weekend. We stayed overnight, and it was really amazing to be able to hear, all the different arguments that people developed from schools, across the nation, and just share all the work that we've been doing in that co-curricular. So yeah, that was amazing.
How'd you do, Kareem?
Pretty good. Me and my partner Emma advanced to the second day, and we were octo finalists. We were in the top, I think the top 16 teams, and we also received the sportsmanship award for our work on the first day. So that's very Stuart Hall community.
Thank you, Kareem. As you can see, we are a small school, but we do offer something for every student who needs an interest, which is very unique. So now this is time for you all to ask the faculty and students any questions that you all might have. So I'll let you all ask some questions. Yes, go ahead.
Is there a particular dress code or uniform?
It's a great question. So we are neat yet casual. So you don't have to wear a blazer or tie or anything like that, but you do have to look presentable.
We're all in part of the
Yes. We also have formal dress days where everybody dresses a little more like Mr. Alex. Even I would be a little more formal.
Aiden, do you have a question? No. All right, so there are some questions in the question box that you all put in. So the first question, it's going to be for Mr. Arnold, is for students that have taken Spanish, do you have a way to catch up?
Spanish is our primary language. We started early. 6th graders sort of get a taste of Spanish, and then 7th graders will take exploratory Spanish, and then we start Spanish 1 proper. We require 3 years of Spanish. It depends on your grade. Most students come in and they're fine because you only need to get 3 years over your time at Stuart Hall. You've got 5 years to complete 3. But there are some cases you come in later in your career, say a junior, with no Spanish, then we would recommend you take Spanish 1 here to get that in-person experience. Virtual Virginia offers summer courses. You can take an online Spanish 2 and then finish your 3rd year requirement, your senior year, and you're good to go. So we're very flexible for most people coming in.
Do you offer, if you wanted to take more years beyond 3, do you offer Spanish 4 and 5?
We currently offer through Spanish 4.
Thank you. And this question is for the students. So anyone who would like to answer this one. What was the transition like as a new student the first few weeks?
So I was actually pretty surprised how quickly I was able to adjust. Might have had that I'm a boarding student here as well. I have to say that how the way I was welcomed here and the way this community is so tightly knit and everybody's just so excited to have you here. It's so nice. I felt welcome from day one. Everybody was there to answer all my questions. And at first it was hard to navigate the building or find the East End Center, but after the first week or two, you start to adapt and you start to learn. And I have to say, once again, the way that the community is so open to welcoming new people, and it's just this sort of happiness and excitement that meets you here when you get here. It's something that I've never experienced before. You know, everybody's just genuinely happy to have you. They're excited to learn more about you, and they're excited to have you contribute to the community as well.
Thank you for sharing. Any other questions? All right, we have another question for the students. What is your favorite event or tradition at Stuart Hall?
Loving Cup. I love Loving Cup.
Please explain.
So, it's sort of like a setup. So I'm a freshman, and I was able to play for upper school with upper school band last year during the Loving Cup. And it's sort of like a send off from the juniors, or is it sophomores? Sophomores, and a send off of the seniors. So they kind of just go around and say like nice things about the seniors. It's sort of like a bratty bit of fun, and it's really pretty. And normally there's like nice music, and it takes place out there. I think if you went to the middle school tour, I showed you the horseshoe, and it's a really pretty ceremony, and it's a lot of fun. And if the weather is good, it's really fun.
So yeah, Loving Cup was incredible. I was a sophomore last year, and my brother was a senior graduating, and so it was just really special for me to be able to do the send-off ceremony with him. It was incredible. And I think my overall favorite tradition we do here would be leave taking. So we've had this as a tradition for years and years. Basically, we congregate out on the field there or in the gym, and everyone stands in a big circle, everybody, faculty and students, and we all just say goodbye to each other before we leave for a break. So we do that before the holiday break, before summer, during those times, and it's just a really nice time to come together as a community and say goodbye to each other. I think it's just really sweet tradition, and it's so going, and I love it.
Awesome, thank you. We have another question here. This could be both for the students and Ms. Sorge. So how are middle schoolers prepared for the upper school, both academically and socially? Want to start with the students first?
I guess I'm the freshman, so like middle school really helps. I think you can still manage if you're going directly into high school, but it's definitely a learning curve, and I think middle school really prepares you well. The teachers are always really kind, and I know when I first came in 6th grade, it was like a ton of stuff that I didn't know, but like Miss Bartley was really great, and like she really helped. And Miss Karen was also my 6th grade homeroom teacher, and she was really helpful, and just sort of it really prepares you well. It sort of gives you the foundation, and then you're going to learn more about that in high school. So like if I were to give an example, we've talked a little bit about like essay writing and claims and supporting that with evidence. We do a lot of that in middle school, especially like middle school English and middle school histories. And we do that a lot now in high school histories and English and et cetera. And I just think like middle school really set a good foundation for me personally to like be ready for what high school requires, and just it's really good. Like I don't know how hard it would have been without middle school, but I know that certainly made my high school life a lot easier.
So I'll tag
That's a
on
tough act to
what
follow.
Liam
What would you like to share after that?
I just wanted to speak about the academic opportunities and the social opportunities. So what Liam was saying is absolutely true. Academically, our curriculum is aligned in such a way that it builds from year to year. So the skills that you're using in an upper school history class, you will see those in a middle school history class. And the claim scale I use as a 7th grade English teacher is the same scale that they might be using in upper school history. So students experience those same skills from year to year, but the way in which they're used or the text that we use them with change in our level developmentally. So it's familiar, it's safe. We have the same expectations for middle school teachers as we do upper school teachers. Things like posting the upcoming week on Friday so that students can start thinking about time management, how they're organizing their own individual schedules. So that's really nice. And then because some of us do live here, because we have such a small community, students will know some of those upper school teachers, or in many cases, the middle school teacher will show up again as an upper school teacher a couple of years later. So these are not not brand new folks. They're trying to get to know their integrated parts of the community that you've already met before. Maybe they were your co-curricular teacher, maybe they were your recess monitor. So we have a really unique opportunity here at Stuart Hall where there's not a hard break. It's just a continuation. It's not a graduation, it's just moving onward as part of the upper school community at Stuart Hall. And then, from a social standpoint, there are so many opportunities where our school is all together. If you look around the room right now, we have community meeting every week. We have chapels every week. And so our middle school students are with our upper school students. There are opportunities where they're working together in co-curriculars, or they're coaching one another in sports, or maybe one of our upper school students is mentoring or helping tutor one of the younger students. So it never really feels like a hard break where it's this scary thing and I'm making a giant leap. It's just a gradual continuation of what we've already been doing. And Stuart Hall is really lucky that we can offer that experience for our students.
I'd like to add something too. I'm one of the first teachers kids get out of middle school. I teach 9th grade biology, and I can agree. A lot of what Ms. Sorge is saying, it absolutely rings true with me. The students that come into 9th grade bio, they've experienced a lot of these skills already, but what's really cool about entering high school is that the skills that they're getting in my 9th grade biology class, such as producing a claim or an argument, mirror perfectly into other courses as well. So the claim that they're producing in my class is going to be based on genetics, or it's going to be based on photosynthesis, but then they're going to go and use that same skill, develop it further in a new avenue in history or English, where they're still producing claims, they're still trying to drive home a point, but the content is a little different. And that's one of the things I think is really cool about the school is we are so skills focused, and it becomes really clear once you get into the program that it's not a contained system. It's not one of those things where you learn biology and then I'm going to go and be an accountant and never touch biology again. No matter what you do, you still need to be able to produce an argument. You need to be able to get your point across, and that's something kids do throughout their time here. It's not these silos of individual lessons. It's actually all they all mirror each other. They all complement each other, which is really, really cool.
Thank you. All right, we have time for one last question. And this question goes for the students and any faculty who'd like to answer. How would you describe the Stuart Hall culture? We'll start with the students first.
Honestly, I think having been here since middle school, the Stuart Hall culture is genuinely one of the most welcoming and kind of accepting cultures, I think. And I think that part of that is that everyone here really does feel like they belong here, and the fact that they're, just from the co-curricular opportunities and the educational, the interdisciplinary skills systems, and the fact that everyone is really in it together, it never feels like there's a divide, or that there's cliques, or that there's people that are, straying from what we all stand for. And I think, with the grad goals and the fact that we are all kind of working on something together really builds a strong community. And especially, being part of SGA and also doing a lot of co-curriculars, I feel like that rings true between middle school and high school. A lot of the co-curricular opportunities are both middle school and high school. And so, though that might seem very daunting for a middle schooler, actually it really helps with that transition and also helps connect the community together as a whole. And so honestly, welcoming and accepting is how I would describe it at least.
I could add to that as a boarding student. I have to say that, I view the students or my friends that I live with here on campus as my family ultimately. And I think that's what makes this school so exceptional. Because you have both day students and boarding students. And the way we're all this one big family, and some of us live together, it just makes all of us so tightly knit together, and we feel like we're always there for each other. This is also a small community, which also helps us, become closer to each other and grow closer to each other. And I feel like I know every single person in this school, whether they're in upper school or in middle school, and I think that's absolutely exceptional.
Would any faculty like to?
Anna said what I would have said. I came here when I was started teaching here when I was pretty young, and they couldn't get rid of me, and I'm still here. And I think about the fact that I lived on campus for a while, like Mr. Murray, and my children grew up here, like Mr. Arnold. I remember him coming over to my house and holding my firstborn, and how he will grow up and attend this school. And the story I tell everyone is, he said to me one day, now when Mr. Arnold teaches me, do I call him Brad or do I call him Mr. Arnold? Because we just have the kind of community where we know each other, and Ms. Kleinfelder, interacts with my children constantly, and I know what Liam is up to on the weekends because he shares that kind of thing, and will come to me and ask me about, how do I do stockinette stitch versus purl stitch, and I know these things about the people I work with, and you have jobs where the boss says, we're a family here, but you're not really a family. Literally, you are a family here, and it's so special and so unique. I love it.
It's very rare you walk through the hallway at Stuart Hall and don't talk to someone, and don't smile at someone, and don't want to hear what they're up to. And so I think that's really special.
Every morning. Every single person.
And there's just like so many types of like people with so many different backgrounds, especially being like an international and domestic boarding school. Like it's so fascinating to hear everybody's story, and like you really, really feel included and like a family.
I'm going to summarize it with one phrase. Small school with a big impact. I think that's the theme I hear.
All right, thank you everyone for sharing. So next up, we invite you all to eat lunch in our dining hall. Our dining hall staff has prepared a delicious meal for you all today. In the folders that you all have is my business card, so if you have any questions about the next steps with regards to the admission process, or if you'd like to schedule a tour or a shadow day, please feel free to reach out to me via email or phone call. I'd love to hear from you all, but now we're going to move down to the dining hall to enjoy a delicious meal before we send you all off. Thank you.